Hello everyone, let's do some spring cleaning today. What I'll be showing in this video is what I consider spring cleaning type of steps for your slides. So just to get this out of the way, everyone who creates presentation slides will want to do what I show in this video. It doesn't matter who your audience is, what your topic is, who you are as a professional. This is a video about how to clean up your messy slides, and messy slides are never good in any situation. The first thing that we're going to do to clean up our slides is remove the template, like these random shapes, this random shape design template. The second thing that we're going to do is change the size of the slide from a square to a widescreen. This right now is a 4:3 slide size, and it looks like a square, and we want that to look more like a rectangle. We want that to be widescreen. Okay. The third thing that we're going to do to clean up the slides, yes, we are going to work on these excessive and unnecessary animations and transitions. Just in case you don't know, an animation is what you just saw right now. It's an animation on the slide. It adds some text, or it adds an object or moves an object once we're on a slide. A transition is what you see when we're moving from this slide to the next slide. So that was a transition. So yeah, we're going to work on those. The fourth thing we're going to do is work on the photos. So you should absolutely be using visuals in your presentation. Yes, every single presentation should have nice visuals, but they have to be good. They have to be nice visuals. They can't have a copyright stamp on them. That is so tacky and unprofessional. We do not want that. They also can't be distorted in any way. No squishing, no squashing, no stretching, no pixelation. We want them to be crisp and clear and large and look good. And we also want to get rid of some cringe visuals as well. So anything that's like outdated or just something that's not really going to resonate with the audience very well, we want to work on that. And then finally, this one might be new and surprising, but we're also going to talk about how the placeholders are used and do some cleanup with the placeholders. So those are the 5 things we're going to do in this video. Just in case you're new to my channel, I'm Dr. Echo Rivera, and I help people create better presentations. My YouTube channel has lots of big picture videos about presentation skills and technical videos. So this is a technical video. I'm going to show you how to do these things in PowerPoint. But if you use another app, I would say still watch this video just to know what to do, what to look for. And then hopefully your slide software has a help article on how to do the same thing in that software, or it's just intuitive and it's easy to do in that software. So, all right, let's get started. Just kidding. I forgot I wanted to say a little disclaimer before we begin. So I'm going to show you how to do all of these things in PowerPoint, but just if you want a real pro tip, then what I'm going to say is that most of the time, you're probably going to be better off just starting from scratch with a whole new presentation file that has a better template to begin with. Because PowerPoint templates, Canva templates, Keynote templates, all of the templates that are out there actually kind of set you up to fail in a lot of ways. Like, they're not good to use. So trying to even do some of the spring cleaning and sprucing up doesn't always work. It doesn't always help you create the type of visual slides you're really probably wanting because you're watching this channel. But still, sometimes it does actually work out this way. So I am going to legit show you how to do this. But if you ever have a moment where you start thinking like, I do not want to do this, this looks like a total pain, then at the end of the video, I am going to show you how this could actually go a lot easier if you start from scratch with a better template. So just keep that in mind as we go through these steps. Okay, with that said, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is remove this random design type template. And I call it random design type template because that's kind of what those triangles are. Like that's kind of what these templates do. They just add random designs to the slide. And so the first step for spring cleaning is to just make it plain. Just kind of start from like a nice, clean, fresh slate. All right, so hopefully you can see this, but I'll walk you through it verbally as well. So the first thing you're going to do is click on the Design tab over here. And I am in PowerPoint for Mac, so it might be a little different in Windows, but hopefully I think a lot of the things I'm showing you in this video should be the same even in Windows, or at least close enough to still help. So pretty much it's just going to show you this bar of all of these different random design template options. We don't want to just sit there and click through these because these all have the exact same problems. These are so bad at information design. No, we don't want these. We just want the one that is the most plain and basic. So I think it's going to be this one here. It just says Office theme. There is one next to it that says Office 2013 to 2022 theme. So I'm assuming the one without the years is the most recent. So we're going to click this. And yes, does this look kind of plain and simple? It does, but that's what we're doing with the spring cleaning. So this is what we want. And that's it. We've already done step 1. We have removed the template. Now we can do step 2, which is convert to widescreen. And I like to do these two at the same time because we actually do them in the same tab. So I'm still here in the Design tab, and now we just need to go all the way over to the right and click Slide Size. So this is where we can change the size from a 4:3, which you can see is selected here, and change that to widescreen, 16:9. So I'm just gonna click and then done. So now it is all in widescreen. And what's pretty exciting is when I used to try to do this, there would be a pop-up message that asked if I wanted to like adjust to fit or scale. I forgot exactly what it said. And I didn't seem to get that now. So I don't know if it's PowerPoint for Mac, or I don't know if it's just different now, but let's just say you do this and you do get a pop-up that asks you to make a choice for how you want to change to widescreen. What I would honestly do is just choose one of them, see how it looks, then, kind of just like see if it's messy or something like that. Then I would go back to a 4:3, just undo. And then I would click it again and then choose the other option and see how that one looked. And then I would just choose from there. And I would just choose whichever one looked like the least amount of work to fix up, whichever one just looked the best. That's going to depend on what you have in your presentation file before you change to a widescreen. And this is just if the presentation was 4:3 already. Ideally, moving forward, you will start a presentation with widescreen so you never have to do this again. Okay, so that's it. We can now move on to step 3, which is tackling those animations and transitions. So don't get me wrong, animations and transitions are actually really powerful tools that can help you make a very engaging presentation. But if your presentation is using a random type template, if it was on a 4:3, if it has some of these other issues that we're talking about, then chances are the animations and transitions that are in the existing presentation file might be a little too excessive or the wrong type of animations. And I find it, again, we're spring cleaning, we just want a clean slate. So it's usually easier to just kind of like remove all of them and then build them up again in the right way. So the good news is that it is super easy to remove transitions. So let me just go back to the beginning and just kind of show you again. So again, a transition is like we had a fade transition there. Okay, these are animations. I'm going to click again. Okay, we had like a fade transition as we moved from one slide to the next. Animation. Okay, so we have these like fade transitions as we move. Then we have this one where it falls down. Okay, that's what we're going to fix first, because all we have to do is go over here to this left panel where we see the thumbnails of each slide. I'm going to click on the top one. I'm holding Shift down on my keyboard. And then I'm going to click the last slide. So I've selected all of the slides. There might be another way to select all of the slides. That's just how I do it with Shift on my keyboard. And now we can go to the Transitions tab up here and just choose None. And with just a couple clicks, I will show you. We'll start again and I'll go through this faster. So click. Now, when we go from one slide to the next, it just goes. We don't have like a weird fade to look at. We don't have a slide falling down. We don't have the side swipe. We have removed all of them. So that is super easy, and I highly recommend that you just, especially if you've been working on a presentation file for a while, or you've been given a presentation file from somebody else, like make that your first step, because there's probably transitions in there that you just might not even know are in there, and you don't even have to think about it. You can just remove them without worrying about it. But now I have some bad news. You can't do that with animations. I don't know why PowerPoint is like this. I don't know why. But if you select all of them and you go to the animations tab, it's all blacked out. It's all gray. Like we can't choose to do the same thing. I'm so mad. But the only option is you do have to go slide by slide. And you can tell a slide has an animation if this little star is there. So basically you go to all of the slides that have this little star, you activate the animation pane. So you click it up here, and then you can see the animations. You can click those, and then you click the X. And then you go to the next slide, and then you click the X. So you select the animation, and then you remove it. And yeah, not the best. It's a little tedious. Now here's one where we have two different sets of animations. Again, we can at least select this first one, hold down Shift, and then select the last one. And we can delete both of them at the same time. So there might be more keyboard shortcuts you can use to select all of them, but again, that's just kind of the one I remember. So yeah, that's how you remove the animation, slide by slide. There are ways to do this without having to go slide by slide, but it involves knowing how to use VBA, which is like code basically, or there might be, I've heard there is a plugin that can let you do this. So, you know, there are other options, but again, I'm going to show you at the end how I may recommend that you just start from scratch with a new presentation file, a new template anyway. So, you know, take a look at that instead, and then you can decide if you want to use a plugin, use VBA, or just kind of go slide by slide and manually fix it. Okay. But it is important to, I think, have that fresh slate. And I have, you know, put some music on and just kind of remove them. Okay, let's move on to fixing or deleting bad photos and visuals and images. So just about every visual I've added in this file has at least one type of problem. So how do we fix that? Well, the first one, the easiest one, is to look for any images that still have a copyright mark. Just because you've left the copyright mark on the image and then put it in the presentation, that does not mean you are legally and correctly using the image. Like that means you're supposed to purchase the image and then that's when you can use it. So leaving these copyright marks on there, like I said earlier, it's just kind of like tacky and unprofessional. And I don't want you to have a presentation that gives that impression to anybody. I want people to be impressed with your presentation. I want people to enjoy it. So yeah, look for these. And if you cannot purchase the picture, then it must be deleted. Just delete it. Just don't even worry about it. Like you'll find a different photo. It'll be okay. Just delete it. So we will just grab the photo and say goodbye. Bye-bye. We'll find something else. Okay. What's wrong with this photo? There's no copyright. It's kind of a funny photo. It's a pretty good photo. So what's the issue here? The issue is that it's distorted. Okay. So we have the squishing, we have the squashing, and we do not want that. Every single photo that is squished or squashed or distorted needs to be unsquished. So how do you do that? In PowerPoint, you can click on the picture And then once you do that, this picture format tab is going to pop up. So you can click on the picture format tab and then go over here towards the left side and look for where it says reset picture. Perfect. Click on that or click on the arrow and you'll have two options, reset picture or reset picture and size. So if we just choose reset picture, it doesn't really seem to do anything. So really what I do is reset picture and size. And when it does that, it basically changes the photo back to exactly how it was before. So we no longer have a squished photo. The proportions have been restored. Now, just in case you do have distorted and squished photos, the way to avoid that is to never ever change a photo or visual size using these squares that are like in the center. Always use the corner to change the size. That's how you maintain proportions, okay? And if you that's how you squish it, is if you use the middle square. So always use the diagonal, the corner. Okay. Now, if you're wondering, well, but the picture's not going to fit in the space that I have for it. I have a whole other video about what to do. It's basically you use the cropping tool. So you're going to crop out the parts that don't fit, but I cover that in a whole separate video. But for now, we're just fixing the photos that are distorted. And that's pretty much the issue with all of them. Like this is squished. No squishing, not even a little bit. Not even that much, okay? Never ever squish a photo. I'm gonna undo. So only use these corners. All right, and everything is squished. Okay, so there we go. All right, so watch out for that. Let's see, is this one squished? I'm just going to fix that one while we're unsquishing. Okay, I've made it very large. So now we can make that smaller, just so we can see it. Yeah, some of my photos are quite large. Okay, so let's go back. So we've kind of fixed the two big things, the easy things, the copyright stamp and distortion. Okay, so those are kind of the two easiest ones to see. Does it have a copyright stamp? If so, either purchase it or delete it. And is it squished or squashed? If so, we can restore it. But there is one other type of distortion that I want to point out. We've got two photos here, or two, they're not photos, but two images, two visuals. Can you tell which one is actually distorted? Let me go into presenter view. Maybe this will help. Can you tell? In a way, it's kind of both of them, but mostly this one, because the other form of distortion happens when a photo is originally small and then it was made, and then the size was increased too much when put on the slide, which means it is now pixelated. So it's like blurry, it's fuzzy, we can see the pixelations, and it's really bad in this photo. And I can actually see it in this photo as well. And this is just like, I'm on a computer monitor. And so if you see it even just a little bit on a computer monitor, it's probably going to look even worse when projected like on a big screen or something like that. So another thing to do is if you see maybe a little pixelation or you're worried, still use that reset picture and size. And look, now when we were doing this before, all of the pictures kind of got a little bigger, right? Well, this time the picture got smaller. And that means this is probably as big as the photo should get. We should not increase it anymore because that's when we get pixelation. Look now. So now you can see it's clearer, right? So that's also something to watch out for. If your photos are too small, then you should probably just delete those as well. This is usually, I'm going to reset this again. I don't love that this photo doesn't cover the entire slide. I typically prefer the photo to take up the entire slide, and then that's when I use it. But it's close enough. I prefer when photos are this big though, because then I never have to worry about pixelation. So watch out for that. And I would just delete that photo because it will never be able to be the size that I need it to be. We can even see it here. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, that's very fuzzy. That's very blurry. So make sure you're watching out for that. And the way to test is to be in presenter mode like this. It can actually be pretty easy to not notice it when you're editing your photos like this. Okay. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about is cringe photos. So this is more about like what the photo actually is and how it was made and how the photo or visual looks. So you just really want to make sure that your photos are actually going to connect with your audience and resonate with your audience. Just having a visual doesn't always help if it's just going to kind of be there and not achieve those goals. And typically the things that I would categorize as cringe are both of these types of images. She does not look like a real person. This definitely feels like an AI image. It's super creepy. So we're just going to get rid of that so we don't have to look at it anymore. So yeah, these like AI people, they just look cringe and weird, and it's going to create more of an uncanny feeling among your audience rather than feeling like your audience can relate to that AI person thing. The other category are things like this, like digital illustrations, digital images. Sometimes those can actually just be kind of give an outdated feel, even if they're brand new, even if they're AI generated. It just feels a little clip art type of an image. So, I will choose a photo of real life, real things any day, even if it's a little imperfect and not perfect to what the slide is. I would choose that over something like this. So that's the fourth cleanup. We've cleaned up some of the photos and, fixed them if they were distorted. So now we can talk about the last step for spring cleaning. And I'm going to be honest, this one, I'm a little worried it's going to make everybody's eyes glaze over and you're going to check out a little bit because this is like super technical. So I'm actually going to keep this as short as possible and kind of just tell you in advance that, this one's a little optional. And I do think that this is another example of why it's probably just going to be easier to start with a new template, because it can actually be really difficult to go in and fix how placeholders were used. And this is when it's a lot easier to just start from scratch. So just kind of like hang in there. I'm going to go as fast as I can. And if you hate this, you don't even want to think about it, then just you'll like what I think. I think you'll like what I say at the end of the video. So, okay, so let's kind of like talk about this as fast as we can. So I just have one slide that kind of messed up all of the placeholders, so I can show that to you. Now, real quick, just in case you're not sure what a placeholder is, let me just give a new slide. This is what I mean by the placeholders. These things that say click to add title, click to add text, like these boxes here. That's what I'm talking about as placeholders. Like if you don't type anything into these and you go into presenter view, you don't see anything because they're placeholders. They're not actual content. They're not actual text yet. They're not actual visuals. It isn't until you start typing or you add things where now you can see them when you're in presenter view. So that's what I'm talking about here. And in this slide, I kind of messed up all of the placeholders. So again, this is the same layout as this one. Okay, it's the layout where it's like, I think it's called to content or something like that. To content, where you're supposed to have a title or a heading and then like, I guess, 2 blocks of content. So this is what it originally looked like. And then this is what it looks like after I edited it. Now it's an exaggerated mess, but honestly, I see a lot of slides that kind of look like this. What's going on here? Well, first of all, I have an image that's just floating here. It's not in this placeholder. It's not in any placeholder. It's just like floating. So that's like problem number 1 with how I used the placeholder. I'm basically not using it. Problem number 2 is that this title placeholder is gone and I've replaced it with just like a little floating text box. Okay, so that's kind of like the 2 big things that I would say you want to fix as part of the spring cleaning. So the way to do that is to insert another layout. Like once a placeholder has been deleted, you can't really add it back. So you just have to do a new slide. and then basically like bring the stuff into the new slide. So I'm going to take this photo, I'm going to copy it on my keyboard, click into the new one. I'm going to click over here and I'm going to do paste. So I just did copy paste on my keyboard and it's inside the placeholder. I know it's not just floating there as an image because if I delete the image on my keyboard, the placeholder is still there. Okay. So whereas if I delete this, there is no placeholder because the photo was just floating there. All right. So that's one thing, like, like add stuff into a placeholder if it is there. Now, this is supposed to be like a heading, right? If we go back to these previous slides, it's supposed to look like this, but it doesn't because I like deleted it and used a text box instead. So we're going to clean up, we're going to use the placeholders properly. And we do that for text by selecting the text. I'm inside the text box and I'm going to copy the text. Like I'm not just like trying to copy this, like I'm literally selecting the text, copying on my keyboard, going into the new slide. I click into the placeholder and I don't just paste. That's why I'm going so slow because you probably like a lot of people will already paste. Don't just paste. You have to go up to the paste icon, click the down arrow and I choose keep text only. And then sometimes you might have to delete some extra spaces, but that's how you make sure it like uses the correct formatting. Again, I want to keep this very simple, so I'm not going to go into more detail, but if you paste as keep text only, you won't have additional problems with the formatting. Okay. And we have like 2 points, but again, one is floating here on a text box instead of being up here with the other point. So we're going to copy the text, just the text, click into the placeholder using keep text only. And we're going to go back to the original or the first version, the messy version, copy that text, new slide, come into here. I'll hit enter and paste as text only. And again, some spacing, might have to be deleted and we might need to fix that up. Okay. So this is what I mean by cleaning up your placeholders. You might have a lot more questions about that. I know you're probably asking why, but I did actually try to record an explanation and it just was all over. It was just all over the place because it's kind of linked to a lot of different things that are just very like back end and technical. It kind of involves things like using the slide master and like fixing up the slides very quickly and easily. And it just I think it was going to make this video way longer than I wanted it to be. So I just want to keep it at this for now, but I will of course have more videos about this and I'm going to have a whole series. I'm working on a whole series where I talk about like placeholders and the slide master and like all that kind of stuff. So if this kind of like piqued your interest, then take a look at some of the other stuff that I have on my channel because I definitely do some deeper dives into this very technical thing. But for now, just trust me, it's actually going to end up making your life so much easier if you use the placeholders properly. One last thing. What if you are in a situation where, here's another thing to fix. Let's say you have a slide that's like this. Here is my title. And you actually didn't end up having text. You just wanted to do something like a flow chart or a custom model or something like that. And you've just deleted the placeholder and then inserted your shapes and stuff like that. This is also not ideal and you also don't want to do this. You want to make sure that you never delete a placeholder from your slide because that causes problems in a lot of ways later on. So in a situation like this, really it should have been the title only layout that's used. Here is my title because then it's already got blank space in there. So again, it's just kind of like, I'm just planting a seed here. If, just to kind of make you aware of it, make you aware of placeholders, because I think a lot of people don't even think about them. I know I didn't used to. So I'm going to stop here. Again, if you want more details, check out some other videos, but I want to do what I promised, which is show you how all of this can probably just be easier if you're using just a brand new template that was actually set up in a way to help you make engaging slides. Because even though we have completed these spring cleaning steps, we've done all of these 5 things to just sort of update and refresh the slides, you can see that we're not actually done, right? Like we can't present a slide like this. The photo is in a weird spot, it's covering the text. And even things like, there's some weirdness here where some of the bullet points are not quite in the right spot. I mean, that's kind of what happens when we go from a slide with a template that's 4x3 into something with a plain one and widescreen. So, some of it works, some of it looks good, but it still needs a lot of work. And that's because, again, what we've done is just sort of what I call step 0. This is kind of like step 0. Like, let's say, just as a metaphor or an analogy, we were about to cook a meal. Well, basically what we've done is like washed the dirty pans. We've washed like the knives that were dirty, the cutting board that was dirty. We've just like washed everything. We still need to cook the meal. And that's what slide design is. That's like cooking the meal itself. That is things like fixing the placement, fixing the colors, fixing up the font types, the sizes, the alignments, the image sizes, the placements, like adding back in good animations and transitions. So, this kind of felt like a lot of work just to kind of complete that cleaning step 0. So that's why I wanted to show you a way where we can actually combine the cleaning and the cooking step when it comes to slide design. So let's switch to that now. All right, so let me show you how this could go if we just kind of started from scratch with a new template. So this is a fully custom template that I've made, something that actually sets you up for creating accessible, engaging, professional presentations that actually helps you design information in good ways rather than just focusing on throwing random shapes on a slide and font colors that are too light to see, and all sorts of other accessibility problems, which you will find in basically every default template that is available in just about every presentation software that exists. So yeah, you can tell I'm not a huge fan of these. So just real quick, I've got lots of custom layouts in this template of mine. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I just kind of wanted to show you how we could transfer and do a spring cleaning in what I think is a faster way. So let's just kind of go through and do that now. Now, title slides, I actually tend to design those from scratch using a blank slide. So we're actually going to leave that for now and just focus on some of these other slides. So here we're back to sort of the original with all of these issues. We have kind of a standard like heading, some text, and a photo. Well, I have that as a layout ready to go. So all I would do is click on that layout, and I've got some placeholders here. Let's pretend that I actually went and bought this photo. So let's pretend we don't have the copyright anymore, and this photo isn't actually, copyrighted. I can use this photo. So I'm just going to copy it from this old file, and I'm going to click into the photo placeholder that I have, and I'm just going to click paste. Now look, it is no longer distorted. I didn't even have to reset the picture and size. It just kind of pasted it in there as it should be. Now, it didn't choose exactly the cropping that I would maybe have chosen, so I can just easily adjust that a little bit on my end there. And so maybe something like that. I'm not sure if I actually changed it all that much, but so there we go. Then I can copy this text, come over here into the headline, keep text only, and then I can select all of this text, copy, and then keep text only, and maybe you need to clean up a little bit of that. And there's no animations because I'm just there is no animations in this layout, so I don't have to go in, I don't have to remove any animations. And then I basically just do that. I copy and paste and move things over. So I'll probably, do a cool video thing where I just speed it up so you don't have to watch me do this in real time. All right, popping back in, slowing the video down because this is one where we actually deleted the photos. So this slide has no photos. So no problem. I have a layout for that purpose and I will just switch to that one now. All right, and I slowed down the video just to kind of do a quick walkthrough of what's going on with this slide. So this slide, it does have numbers on the original and I want to add those back in. So the one extra step I have to do is to go up and add those back in. And then also notice that so far all of the titles have been one line of text, but this one is 2 lines of text. No problem, I have a layout for that. So all I have to do is go back up into here and switch to the one that gives me a little more space for a long title. And while we're here, I might as well add in doing this, the slide that we had here, because how might we do this? Well, I have some other layouts for that as well. So we could do something like this. I'm going to grab the first photo, copy it, paste it into here. I don't like the direction it's facing, so I can just flip that, no problem. Okay, perfect. And then maybe I just won't bring in all of the text. I'll just add maybe a little fewer words per slide if I can. And then I'll just hit enter, follow that same pattern, because when I hit enter, it'll be whatever layout I was on when I hit enter. Copy this image, paste that in there. And then let's see, I will go ahead and copy some of this, paste it in, keep text only. And I might just have to delete what's in the parentheses there. And then there we go. And you know what? Maybe I'll even add some color. So spring cleaning, that works with the teal I have in here. And the equal sign is on the same line in the previous one. So let's go ahead and choose pink. So there we go. So that's pretty much it. That's the spring cleaning when we actually just start with a new template. And again, let's just kind of go through these slides one more time as a quick comparison. Here is our original. We're using so many animations, so many transitions. We got tiny slides that are a 4x3 square, not a widescreen. Right? It takes forever to kind of just like get through these. We have the random template design. We have photos that are all distorted and pixelated or cringe. And we had some issues with the placeholders. Okay, so you saw what it would take to go through and fix everything. Or we could just hop into a new template and start from scratch there. So yeah, a little bit of copy and paste, but hopefully you saw that it actually wasn't, that too big of a deal. And again, a new title slide, I would actually start from a blank slide, but everything else, we'll just click through again. We can just see, like, doesn't this look more modern? The photos are not distorted and they're bigger and used in a better way. We have better font design, we have better text, and we were able to get through that really quickly, and it just looks a lot more modern. And we didn't have to go through and undo a bunch of animations. We didn't have to reset the pictures and size, and it already looks updated. So that's why I say sometimes it may not be worth actually trying to fix up an old presentation file. So yeah, hopefully that video was helpful. If so, be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe and like and all that good stuff. Again, my name is Dr. Echo Rivera. I also have a blog and a newsletter. The links are below, but you can also check out my website, which is echorivera.com, for all the up-to-date information. And this template that I was just showing you is available through my paid online course. My YouTube channel is mostly tech videos, and mostly PowerPoint because it's what most people use. But I also have some videos about big picture presentation skills. But if you want the strategy, if you want to know why the slides look a certain way, like for example, why was it that in the new slides there were no bullet point circles, right? I don't know if you caught that, but things like that. If you want to know the strategy behind how to design presentation slides and to just have a compelling story, like a compelling script, that's inside my paid masterclass. That's where you learn graphic design, information design, psychology, data visualization, and all that good stuff. And this template is included in there. So definitely check out my website if you are interested in that masterclass. I do also have design services and consultation calls, and I can help you with visual communication in general, not just presentation slides. So report design, infographics, website graphics, comics, social media graphics, videos. I like to do a lot of things. And sometimes I'll make these things for clients, but a lot of times what I'm doing is teaching clients how to do these things. Professional development, training, technical assistance, that type of thing. And my offerings do change from time to time. So, everything is in the description below and on my website. So hope to see you in the next video. Bye.